What's going on, everybody? So today is another video that I'm going to be covering, this time something in the gaming industry. This is going to be a bit of a funny one for me in particular, and I think it's pretty stupid as well now when I look at it. So there's been this ups and downs over the past couple of weeks, in fact like about 2 weeks I would think, for this game called Concord. Apparently it is by far one of the worst games ever made, and now after 2 weeks of launch, guess what? It's shutting down. As in, that's the end of it. This is weird and bizarre, and this is something that is produced by Sony, I believe, from Firewalk Studios, so it's a first party developer of PlayStation. For those of you wondering, it's something, think about it this way. Another first party developer at one point, I think, I'm not too sure if they still are, is Santa Monica Studios. So they're first party developers that make God of War. In this case, we got Firewalk Studios that makes Concord. This is a bit of a wild one for me in particular. The reason being is in 2 weeks, that's less than a month, it's been taken offline. Now, apparently, it's got one of the shortest lifespans in the history of video games that have launched, I would think. People are also getting refunds on this game, so anybody who bought the game, fortunately, you're getting your money back. And I think Sony is obviously doing that because they want to avoid a situation where you can just take them to court or whatever it is. And also with the cost of the way, well, servers are and the cost of equipment and how everything unfolds online, obviously this is costing them a hell of a lot more money than they anticipated. The thing about this though, what's funny is that they want to explore other options afterwards and to see what actions may be taken in order to better reach players. The problem with this thing is the game was so ugly, the characters are so awful, the developers themselves were just terrible people. You gotta refer to them as a professor, and then they were talking down to people that to the point where to the point where gamers in fact just said, you know what, no thanks. On top of that, the game was effectively an Overwatch clone, albeit an absolutely ugly and hideous and poorly made one. It's way too old, it was in development for way too long, and the way things look and the way things appear with the game, I don't see how they could have saved or fixed this thing, especially with the way the developers and everybody else handled everything. It's an absolutely crapstorm. Nobody wants this game, and it's so bad and so terrible that everything out there that this game is related to is effectively just going to shut down, in my opinion. As far as the servers go, the studios go, I'm pretty sure these guys are going to shut down. There's no way you can fail this hard and still fail upward at the same time. Another thing which I found very interesting when I'm looking at this article is that there's a quotation over here. Concord fans, we've been listening closely to your feedback since the launch of Concord on PlayStation and PC and want to thank everyone who has joined the journey aboard the North Star. To be clear, Concord's numbers were apparently in the 60s right before it shut down, and I think their peak was like in the 200s somewhere. So I would say that at launch of Concord, there were probably all of the reviewers playing the game. That would have been the bulk of the crowd. And then when they left, the other 60 odd or so were probably people that were either related to the developers, got the key for free, alternatively, maybe, just maybe, they were desperate enough to try and save it. So who knows? Maybe these developers actually got some keys for their friends and got them to go online and play it. But as far as I know, nobody IRL, there's not a single person I've met, and I don't know anybody online that I've seen who can genuinely praise this game and say it's a work of art or a masterpiece or well deserving of the purchase. I can't see anything like that. Now, going on more into the statement where they're effectively lying, Ellis said, your support and passionate community that has grown around the game has meant the world to us. This is obviously a copy and paste script. Alternatively, this is AI generated. The reason being is there's no way a person is dumb enough to think that 60 players at the time of shutting down a game 2 weeks after launch is a passionate community. I find it hard to believe that a game that never even broke so, I don't know, 10,000 players and even like in its first day or first week, I kind of find it hard to believe that, well, there was a community. Community of who? Community of what? I mean, I could be wrong and mincing up the numbers. I'm talking from memory over here, but these things seem to be pretty wild. Let's go and have a look at it quickly. Let's go have a look at Concord Player Peak, and then let's see what we get. And as far as I know, this game didn't do very well for a lot of reasons. Aside from the fact that the characters were ugly, everything was just dated, and nobody even wanted to play this thing. Nobody was even bothered for it. Nobody was interested in it. All the advertising and marketing they put into it failed and, well, fell really harder than anything else. Looks like I was wrong. I'm very sorry, everybody. So, according to recent news reports on SteamDB, the peak concurrent count was 697 players. That's in August 2000. And on August 23 and 2024, I think I mixed up the numbers with Dustborn because both of these games are so bad. I want to get them out of my mouth as quickly as I can that I kind of stuffed up the numbers. Sorry about that, everybody. But as far as I can see, I don't think anybody is going to be interested in this game if it ever comes back. Now, as far as it goes over here, this poor performance is only on Steam may not accurately reflect all of its player database. They tried to do obviously cover up a bit over here because you don't know the PlayStation numbers. I would be interested to know how many units sold on PlayStation and if anybody even played the game. That would have been interesting to see. So the all-time high according to Steam charts for Concord was 660. With over the past 24 hours, there was 134. Playing 6 minutes ago was 109 people, and this appears to be on September the 3rd, 2024, but this news article did break like a few hours ago. So, from what I understand, obviously, this is probably still to be updated, probably by tomorrow or the day after tomorrow, that we'll actually get the proper numbers for this stuff. Going back to the article, however, while many qualities of the experience resonated with the players, what players? Who are these people at 134? Are they legitimate players of the game, or are these people who are just going out there making YouTube videos, crapping on it, and people who were effectively either given a key, or maybe one of the developers bought them some keys and gave it to some friends and said, hey man, just log into your PC when you get a chance and leave this game running to say that, you know what, there is somebody in the game, even if you don't have to play a match. Please, when you go to the shower, just fire up your PC quickly and leave this thing in the lobby. That should be good enough for us to say, you know what, there's more and more people playing this game, because technically, you don't need to do any gameplay for the game to actually count you as a player being in there. You just got to be logged in, connected to the internet, and Steam will update accordingly. Now, going back to the article, we also recognize that other aspects of the game in our initial launch didn't land the way we intended. Actually, it did. It landed with a modern audience. All 660 of them. Those were the guys that you hit. Congratulations. I'm being generous over here, and I'm going to say at least 20% of this, or roughly about, maybe I'm actually stretching it over here, about 200 out of the 660 were all these video game outlets. Then eventually, when they fell apart, the other people that were playing maybe were legitimate players. I don't know. I also suspect that the developers were playing their own game at some point in time to keep it on live support. Anyway, going back, therefore, at this time, we've decided to take the game offline, being September 6, 2024, and explore options including those that will better reach our players. As in our players, that's effectively nobody, because I don't know anybody talking positively about this game. I don't know anybody showing off any gameplay. I don't know anybody saying like this is the next big thing to come out. All I see is these developers pushing these idiotic designs where everybody is just absolutely ugly and hideous. It's as if though you can't, like, I don't know, for some reason normal looking people don't exist in the world anymore, or they're just trying to change what normal is. I can understand if this was like the whole universe of Concord, where they'd be like, you know what, everybody is all this funky looking. They could even have done it in good taste and said, hey man, this is the way the world is, this is the fashion in this world, and that's how it all goes down. Nah, they just decide to make the game as ugly as hell. They don't even have like an actual like law excuse for this crap. It's absolutely abysmal and it's absolutely awful. The game appeals to nobody. All of these people playing the game, I guarantee you, there's no way in hell that these are legitimate players. I suspect that the people playing now are going to be probably like, you know what, playing Concord before it shuts down, playing Concord for fun, playing Concord for kicks and giggles, playing Concord, one of the worst games ever made. I can't imagine anybody playing the game because they generally want to play it. I mean, people paid $40 for this game. Luckily, they are getting their money back, and like the article mentions, this was $40 in a free-to-play world that had to compete against other games like Overwatch 2 and more. The character designs clearly didn't resonate with players. Clearly didn't resonate with players. And there's even a series known as Amazon's New Secret Level, where Concord was supposed to apparently appear. I suspect that what's happened over here is that um, effectively that portion of the episode will probably either be cut or the secret level episode covering it will probably be deleted and Concord will be, well, edited out of it, unless maybe it already aired or is gonna air with everything inside of it. But it's gonna be kind of funny to have like a TV show that has a video game which shut down 2 weeks after launch. That's going to be hilarious for a lot of people, and obviously, Sony didn't do a very good job with keeping this game alive. And from what I understand as well, the internal development team was somewhat of a nightmare and hell to work with somebody demanding that you refer to them as the professor, and well, effectively coming out with this whole main character syndrome that everybody's just tired and annoyed with from Western developers. Every time I see this stuff, all I keep thinking about is how entitled these spoiled brats are, and the fact that they don't understand how business works. That when you do something, you got to put out a product, and you got to hope that that product is something which can be marketable to a group of people who are willing to pay for it. And obviously, if they're not willing to pay for it, you got to figure out why they're not willing to pay for it, what's wrong with the item, and then you can fix it accordingly before launch and then take it from there. In this case, they didn't even bother to do that. They just told you, you know what? You guys will do as we tell you. You guys spend to us, and that's how it works. You'll open your wallet when we tell you to do it, and you're gonna buy this trash and eat it up. Well, guess what? Nobody did it. No one was interested. And to be quite frank with you, at this point in time, we are all spoiled for choice as far as video games go. There isn't a genre that isn't covered out there that doesn't have something that you would be interested in, irrespective of what type of games you play: first person, sports, racing, adventure, platforming. No matter what it is, fighting games, there's a plethora of titles across every single genre, across a multitude of systems, all of which can, in most cases, in almost all cases, be emulated on your PC. So it's not like you're gonna be stuck with anything with modern day technology and PC. I mean, if you got yourself like an RTX graphics card, even not one of those, even like an RX 580, heck, or like an old Ryzen 2200G or Ryzen 3 or Ryzen 5 processor from like 6 years ago, with 16 gigs of RAM, you're kind of sorted, my man. My man, you got like everything you need. You don't need to even worry about buying video games anymore. As far as games go, there's a ton available on Steam. There's so many free to play titles out there if you want to play online. There's so much available at your fingertips and at your disposal that you really don't need to pay $40 for a game that's as ugly as this. I mean, good God, what were they thinking when they made this thing? Oh yeah, that's right. They probably weren't. Anyway, with that being said, I'm out of this video. Leave a like if you enjoyed it. Leave a dislike if you didn't. Remember to comment if you're not a bot. And if you want to engage in some sort of discourse or conversation, that would be awesome. And I hope to see you in the next video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.